My name's Kerry. I'm an alcoholic. This is not an AA meeting. It's just Paul riffing on his take. What can I say, Paul? I mean, this was kind of last minute. I could do a quick reading or not. What's your preference?
Yeah, do a reading.
All right. So page 25. Page 25, it's the last paragraph. And I'll just a second here. Okay. It goes, if you are as seriously an alcoholic as we were, we believe there is no middle of the road solution. We were in a position where life was becoming impossible. And if we had passed into the region from which there is no return through human aid, we had but two alternatives. One was to go on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could, and the other to accept spiritual help. This we did because we honestly wanted to, and we were willing to make the effort. Over to you, Paul.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. If you're new to this meeting, could you raise your hand, your virtual hand? All right. So Nancy, Joe in LA, welcome. I just want to explain the platform. Again, it's not an AA meeting. The platform is rooted in the description of the exact nature of the wrong on page 64 of the book, around the third paragraph. It's a simple sentence, but it's one of the ways you can look at the inventory process, and it's the way we have adopted here. So it says, being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. So right in that sentence, the defeater and the defeated have been separated. Yeah. Self is seen as the defeater. We are the defeated as us. Us is not self. Self is not us. All right. Being convinced of this, we are now going to look at its common manifestations. And in the next paragraph, it starts with resentment. And then it goes to the fear, which is really fear induced by mental anxiety, mostly. And then there's the harms done to others in the pursuit of what we want, because we're driven by self-seeking and fear and selfishness. So, and along the way, we're inconsiderate based on the same fact that we're driven by self. So in this way, looking at the inventory, you would question your calling resentments yours, and fears yours, and harms done to others yours, completely yours, though you're accountable for the actions. You would see that something, SELF, has manifested through you, and through the manifestations have defeated you. And one of the ways we keep open to being defeated is by calling self's manifestations ours. Yeah. And it's a habit I saw in my own community. The fourth step was passed on as we're going to look at our resentments, fears, and harms done to others, when it's not describing it that way. It's describing it as self's manifestations in our life. That is incredibly different. And the effects of seeing it is going to be very, very different. Yeah, so that's the platform. And then we usually do a reading, which we just did. I get to riff a little on it, and then we open up the meeting. So welcome, yeah, for the point. Now, we're not looking for agreement or disagreement. We're just putting something out that's actually in the big book that wasn't pointed out to me, tell you the truth. So when I did my first inventory, I thought they were my resentments, my fear, and my harms done to others in the pursuit of what I wanted. I did not see clearly that I made decisions based on self. In other words, I did not make the decision. Self made the decision that set off trains of circumstances that I didn't realize that brought me misfortune. That I realized, and I felt I didn't deserve it. That I was clear on. Yeah. But I didn't know the train of circumstances, how they were triggered, and I thought the decision was made by me. Therefore, I had a lot of guilt and remorse, and I was burdened by the past because all those things I was driven to do, I took to be me as the doer, and it was intolerable. And it's just, as it says here, this is what I was doing at the end. One was go on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could. That's what I was the last few months. Yeah. More, but really obvious the last few months. Because at one point, I was a sort of connoisseur of cocaine. At this point, I would do almost anything if it could change how I felt. Yeah. And I had no access to what I wanted because I didn't have the money I used to have. And so I was very, very fucking pissed off. And I had come to this without any kind of decision. This is exactly what I was doing the last months. I had graduated from a program called Delancey Street, 85 to 87, 2 years I was there. I left that with some hope and a feeling that the period of being Mr. Hyde, though rather long, was over, and I was going to be Dr. Jekyll from now on. But unfortunately, it wasn't true. And I went off, I got loaded again. And at the end of that run, that 10-month run, the last few months was the illumination of that statement. I had felt that the seemingly hopeless state of mind and body was a hopeless state of mind and body to me. Yeah. It wasn't appearing to be true or false to me. It was true. I was screwed. And basically, I was just trying to stay unconscious, really, afraid of being that conscious of the intolerable situation I was in. Really, just wanted to be unconscious. And I did whatever I could to do it with severe handicaps of not having money and shit like that, or a place to live and stuff. So, then it goes on here, either that or we could, and the other, to accept spiritual help. Now, I got whacked sober, but that night I was brought to my first meeting and I had become willing to accept spiritual help, because the next morning I went to another meeting at 12, and I've been going to meetings now for 36 years. So those two ways, I was at that turning point. One was to go on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could, and the other to accept spiritual help. Yeah. Now, to me, it was very, very, the contrast between one moment to the other was so extreme, it's left a big mark on me. But basically, I was in the state of doing the one thing, and then I got struck sober, and then I was catapulted in the state of doing the other, seeking for spiritual help. I was brought to my first AA meeting that night, March 21st, 1988, with the promise that if I went to that meeting, I'd have a place to stay that night. And that's where I was introduced to the spiritual help that I was going to receive, which was the AA program. Now, you may have a different invitation, you may have a different invitation of the spiritual help, but it's going to be on a certain level, if you want to call it spiritual, and it's going to be delivered somehow or another through life. And in this case, it was AA. So there you have it. That's why we're here. If it was something else, we'd have a different Zoom title maybe. So this we did because we honestly wanted to, and were willing to make the effort. I didn't know both those things, but it was proven through hindsight that I was willing to make the effort, because I did. and I got to stay a sober to the point where I entered being in the habit of being sober. So yeah, so that's the platform of the meeting. And this isn't about changing anything, but it will bring a new way of looking at the program. And maybe when it says you are the manufacturing of your own misery, you may be suspicious about that statement. I don't believe you are. I believe something foreign to you has manufactured misery through you. I do not believe you hate yourself. I do not believe it. Something may hate you, but it ain't you. And I do not believe you are your own worst enemy. I think you're identified as the worst enemy, maybe. And that's how you describe that you are your own worst enemy. Now, could you imagine if you saw your own worst enemy as not you? What possibility that would provide? Just look at it. If you are your own worst enemy and you seems like you're going to be you for the rest of this freaking life, that's a pretty bad handicap if you are your own worst enemy. But if the worst enemy to you is not you, the possibility of being free from it becomes available. Yes? This is the simple logic, what we're basing everything on. This is how it happened with me. I was about 6 or 7 years sober. I was reading the book because I had the privilege of leading fourth step workshops where I lived. So I was reading how it works, see how to present it to people. And then I looked at that word, being convinced. I understood what that meant in AA terminology because it was emphasized to me a lot from old timers that this is the requirement. The first requirement is to be convinced of what? That you're fucked or whatever. Yes. And then that being convinced opens you up to all the other effects. Okay. So being convinced, I was clear about how AA used that. Self, I thought it was ego or something. Yeah. I thought it was me in a blown up version of me. Yeah. Or like excessively, inflated balloon head of me. Yeah. I did not see it as foreign. I thought it was me. And therefore, all the guilt I had on what I was driven to do seemed justified. Yeah. Because it was me. This one night, I saw the word self and it triggered as other. Wow. It was incredible. It was really incredible. I couldn't have induced it because that would have been self trying to get out of self. But it was given, and I saw it from what I am, not from what I'm not. And I saw that that which has defeated me and was wanting to defeat me and will defeat me is not me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And from that point on, I've never thought I'm my own worst enemy, or I hate myself. It makes no sense at all to take something that's foreign to me and call it me all day. Yeah, this is the bondage of self. Why do you think the bondage of self is? The bondage of self is we're taking ourselves to be self. Yeah, we're taking self to be part of us. It ain't. Itself has defeated us. It doesn't say self as us. Well, actually it does. It's self as us is what defeats us, definitely. Yeah. It is self as us. A singular takeover of a collective called us is what has defeated us. But we are not that. Yeah. There you go. So when I started doing inventories after that, I did inventories on resentment, really mental anxiety, and harms that I had did or I had been driven to do to people. And I'll tell you, I got different results from that way of doing the inventory than the other way. The other way furthered the bondage of self. This way alerted me to the bondage of self. Yeah. It pointed out to me the bondage of self. And when I looked at my role in things, I saw self's role in things very clearly. And self's role is not my role. Yeah. So I did all my amends. I did everything as it suggested. And I believe when you go back to the fourth column of in the fourth step, and you look at your role in things, you're going to see something else's role in things. And I would call that something else self. Yeah. And I hope you will now realize that you're accountable what happened through you, but you may not be responsible for what happened through you. And therefore, this umbilical cord that's giving life to the mental activity to have us feeling guilt and shame about shit we never actually even did 40 years ago, but we're driven to do, gets broken, gets cut finally, because it's not your child. It's not your resentment. It's not your fear. It's not your harms done to others. Yeah. You were driven. Decisions were made based on self, meaning they're not based on you, and sets all these circumstances up. And we have been holding the bag, some of us, for 36 years. When are you going to have peace from it? If you believe you were the doer of all those actions, then I'll tell you something. You're not an individual, because tons of people have done the same fucking thing, and they think the same way, and they feel the same way. They're not yours. They're not your thoughts, because they're shared by thousands of people. They're alcoholic thoughts. They're alcoholic behaviors. Why do you keep calling them your behaviors? This is the bondage of self. We've been introduced to freedom, and we want to have the freedom as that which is bound. Yes, it's insane. Yeah. So haven't you noticed this program is incredible, but the effects of the program are completely based on the patient and the clearest diagnosis. Yes. Some people have absolutely no interest in AA. Other people have found it as the lifesaver of this life. Yeah. This is a subjective experience. And if the subject has been taken over by this idea of self, that self-centered view is choking us seriously. Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't found anything new to take its place. This is now what, 30 years or so. So I just sing if the choir is there or not. I don't care. It's just, I feel it's one of the things I really love is doing or not doing, but I was provided the opportunity, yeah, to hear something. I may not like it or want to follow it, but at least I had the opportunity to hear it, yeah. And so this is what we've carved out a little bit in Zoom. We've carved out the opportunity to share this message, yeah. And if you hear it, great. If you don't, great. I just hope you stay sober and you end up doing less harm. Yeah, it's the way it goes. But if you want to really, my feeling of we are given the greatest promise, in a sense, that the problem will not exist for you. That's an incredible solution. But really, how does that stabilize is when the problem does not exist as you. Yeah. When you see you're not that, you'll really get clear about the statement self can't get out of self, because you'll realize most of your life was exactly that. This idea of you has been trying to get out of the idea of you. Yeah. Coming up with thousands of ideas of you. They all got sticky. They're all adhesive. There's just a bonding mechanism. Yeah. Yeah. You try to get out of something you're not in. What is that? That's the biggest in. The biggest in is trying to get out of something you're not in. That's why getting out of self doesn't work. You're not in self. Self is foreign to you. Yeah, you're not in it. You can be under it. You can be driven by it. You can be shat upon by it. Yeah. It can piss on you, but it's not you. Yeah. This is the great relief. Yeah. This is a solution. It's not you. So they promise that you'll have an experience that the problem will not exist for you. And I hope that free sample will lead to the problem does not exist as you. Yeah. It's existing as you is the essence of the problem. Sober or not. That's the essence of the problem, is self existing as us. Yeah. When self is existing as us ain't existing as much as it can. I'll tell you. Yeah. It's like a fucking plant trying to grow through a blanket, you know? There's a blanket covering the fucking soil, stopping the water from soaking in, stopping the light getting in. The plant's going to have a heavier time trying to break through that blanket, yes? To reach the sunlight of the spirit. You know? But if you are the sunlight of the spirit, yeah, you'll be able to see the blanket and you'll see it as not you. Yeah. Yeah. We share we're under the condition of a shared enemy, so to speak. Yeah. And it's not of us. It's foreign. That to me is the greatest news I got after I got recovered. Yeah. Was the problem is foreign to me. I was taken over by it. I was used for transportation. I'm not going to court in my 36th year based on a crime I committed while I was loaded. I'm not going to be dragged there every fucking day and have it gone over. Yes? Over and over. You hear it at meetings. You know, everyone sings the glory, but they always bookend it with, I'm still crazy. I'm still fucked up. Nothing's real. You know, no, you're not. You're not. Yeah. You're not, literally. You're crazy in your old unique ways, but you're not crazy concerning the first drink. You're not. I have been restored to sanity concerning the first drink. If you don't drink, a lot of the stuff is academic, as they say in the book. Yeah. I don't need to have rehabs on my Rolodeck, only when I'm, you know, with the purpose of being of service. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. All right. Let's start, Mike. Thank you, Kerry. It's a
Yes,
great,
sir. Yes, sir. Um,
great reading, really.
yeah, it was just spur of the moment. Lately, I've been not planning too much in my life, except for I have to go to work when I work. Other than that, yeah, not a lot of plans, which is good. I see like this Betty Noble Ranch, Nevada. I don't know if she's new, but kind of reminds me of Montana. Can you hear us, Betty? Are you new? Got the hat on, and there you go. Howdy. Can you unmute or no? Yeah. Are you new? All right. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Wow, we're doing our job well. Very good.
I'll ask a question.
Who's that?
Saraswati.
Oh, Saraswati. Yes.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Paul. So when you say I am the taster, the smeller, right? Isn't that how it goes? How's that go?
No, You
How's
are
it
the
go?
tasting, you are the tasting, the smelling, the hearing, the feeling.
Not the taster. Okay.
No, you're not the taster.
Okay, I'm the verb.
Yes.
I'm the
Aren't you?
verb. All right,
Aren't you?
that's what I wanted clear. Yeah, I agree with you. And life
Yeah.
is much lighter when I travel as the verb.
Well, it's hard for shit to coagulate on you if you're moving.
Yes.
A living action figure isn't going to be shit upon by the pigeons as much as a statue, yes?
Oh,
The statue of noun
the
has it.
statue of noun.
Yes, the statue of noun is is has a lot of consequences. Yeah. That the
Absolutely.
noun
That's a
can't
good one.
see because it doesn't have the eyes of seeing. It sees only the
Mm.
past. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's
very good.
driving, looking at the rear view mirror.
Yes.
Not seeing actually what's happening, is it? Why are we
No,
resentment? Resentment is a re-feeling. So the resentment, the originalness of the feeling is from the past.
mm,
So we're living life looking at the rearview mirror and taking and listening to that GPS. That's the noun. Verb is what's happening, eh? Yeah. Could you
thanks,
imagine if
Paul.
the noun had the control of the verbs? You would have died like in the second of taking ownership of the verbing of the body because you would have forgot. You would have forgot to pump the blood or fucking oil the sphincter, shit like that. It'd be the system would collapse in a second into your management. It would collapse. That's why you have no power over your digestion tract or shit like that.
Agreed.
Something new better to give us any power. Jesus, do you think you're not gonna you would forget to beat your heart in like the first 2 minutes. All right, we're gonna try a new venture. Let him take over. There you go. Oops, sorry, that didn't work.
But let me ask you something, Paul. So
Somebody
what
tried to
about
take
this?
it. Hmm?
What about if I'm the verb and I am not all the things that the action figure did? Was I not the doing?
You're the
I get a
doing
little
in a sense, but not as an owner or a decider. Yeah, there's
not a,
doing. Yeah,
it
there's
was like,
doing. Yeah.
yeah, I get hung up on it
Well,
a little bit.
the what gets hung up on it is the noun.
Yes, the
This
statue of
beauty of
noun.
this, the beauty of this message isn't for an answer, it's to see who tries to get an answer.
Mm,
You want to bring the noun out of the bush so you can see it from the verb. How
yeah,
else are you going to have a living sense of being free from it? You can't, it's the
absolutely.
philosophy doesn't do it. You have to see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what do we attempt to do here? We call the shit out of the weeds, let it show itself, and then recognize it as not you. How are you going to recognize it as not you? It doesn't work.
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So we have to suggest that there's an aspect of us, let's call it the verb aspect, and the verb is not the seer, but it's actually the seeing. And so it can see the manufacturing of the seer. Instead of trying the seer, trying to get knowledge for the seer about the seeing. It doesn't work. Yeah, that self-knowledge avails us nothing. People they want to have an experience as a verb, but as a noun. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
want to experience it and describe it at the same time.
Well, of course. That's what happens. People do it all day. They have an experience and then they stop and the noun coagulates, and now they try to tell the story of the experience, and it's like a stillborn, isn't it? It's
Yep.
like it's nuded. The
Yes.
living, it's like going to the Colorado River and getting a big glass of the water and putting it on your mantle and saying, I got the Colorado River. You've missed the biggest essence of the Colorado River, which is rivering. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
this is what happens. We're collecting experiences as a noun, as if the experiences are going to change the noun so sufficiently it will be a verb. It won't. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Because you already are the seeing, the hearing, the feeling. You're not the event of seeing, you are what's seeing, hearing, feeling. And what's doing. You are not who's doing, or who's seeing, or who's feeling, or who's tasting. You're not that. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's been made up by the head, and that's self in a way. And self is a noun, and a lot of shit grows on it. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there you are. So
Yep.
this is just
There
instead
I'm not.
of trying to figure out the narrative after you're already been narrated, yeah,
Yep.
you see the narrative from somewhere before it, yeah,
Yes.
and yeah, it
Before you
doesn't
get coagulated.
doesn't mean there's not going to be a continued story called Saraswati. You're just going to travel lighter alongside or as you're going along with that story instead of traveling as the center of the story, which is an incredible amount of heaviness. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't take self so seriously.
Yeah. I'm losing interest by the minute.
Exactly. You lose interest, and then you can't detail the gaining of interest. That's going to be your own experience. But there's going to be a
Mhm.
gaining of interest, and that's the joy
Mhm.
you're going to find out. Yeah. But you can describe there definitely is going to be preceded by a loss of interest in self. That's the point. The whole AA pivots on that on page 63. Losing interest in self, all this other stuff starts to happen. Why?
Mhm.
It's like the water has the ability to run, but it's dammed up. We tell the truth
Mhm.
about the dam stops damming, and the water goes with its nature, which is the flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like a life traveling lighter. It's not stuck and stagnated, it's moving along with everything else that's moving. Yeah. Instead of trying to be an island unto yourself, and as soon as you stop amidst a lot of verbing, you give verbing direction and meaning. Now you see all the verbing as if it's coming at you. This is called self-centeredness, where people, if everyone is fucking thinking about them, they're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
sort of like everything's been moving, and then you suddenly stop, and now you think everything that's moving has turned around and looked at you. This is self-centeredness. It's not a
Mhm.
healthy flow. If you're a verb amongst verbs, who's going to give direction or point out where anything's coming from? Because it's coming from everywhere. As soon as you get triangulated and you're a thing and you're located, then the way you look at things is how it pertains to you. That's the essence of self-centeredness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you think verbs have intention to get you or do this or go and make someone else's life better than yours, and why not mine, and all of this stuff it's like a printing press. It just produces cheap fucking stories,
Yeah.
and we subscribe to them because we think it's about us. No one else is reading your freaking story. They're too busy reading their stories, and they have collections for 50 and 60 years. I was worried about this, and now I'm worried about that. Yes.
Yeah.
What's actually changed? All the things you worried about, but the worry has been a constant. Yeah. Yeah, so always put verb before noun, because the head puts noun before verb.
Mhm.
Just thought how, assist yourself in seeing in a different way. Assist yourself. Yeah. Yeah. For there to be a seer, there has to be seeing. For there to be seeing, there's no need for a seer. Which is more essential? Which is more valuable? Obviously, the seeing. Where is its value in the head? It's after the seer. How much more do you want to know about shit? If how the value system coming from self-centeredness has the noun always more valuable than the verb. Yes, but in fact, in living, the verb is the only essential quality. The noun is an add-on. Do you need to study 800 more pages? Just hear that.
Yeah.
Just sit with it. It's not, oh, it shouldn't, the noun is going to vow now to be a verb. No, that's all selfish. That's all the selves can't get out of self. Just hear it,
Mhm.
let it hit, and see what it triggers. Yeah. Yeah. What it triggers
Yeah.
is, wait a minute. The most essential thing is given the least amount of meaning, and the unessential thing is emphasized all day. Something, and you think that's going to go well? If you add time and space to it, it's gonna go fucking, yeah. I mean,
No.
it's not gonna correct itself. I'm telling you right now.
Mm-mm.
It's not gonna correct itself. The noun is never gonna get that it's a verb. It can only get that as a noun. The noun will always go back into the presupposing it's before everything. What's what? Why would you want to feed it any more knowledge? It just spits it up in an opposite, Yeah. There's a statement in another view called Zen, old Zen, by a great master called Huang, Huang Po, P-O. And he says, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is
Be the perceiving.
Yes. So the perceived is a thing. The thing is
Cannot
not
be what's
what's
perceiving.
perceiving. Yes.
Yeah.
So something that is perceiving things, but it is not of a thing. Yeah. The thing in our case has alcoholism, and our solution is not in the world of thing, it's in the world of spirit. Yeah, which is not a thing. So they finally had a revelatory download that the solution to the thing will not come from the thing. It's going to come from no thing. Yeah. Like it says, no human power could correct this thing in you. Basically,
Mhm.
a thing ain't getting out
I'm
of the
over there.
thing. Yeah. But they call it a spiritual solution, which is basically, it's not a mental or physical one. That's it. Yeah. So we're shopping at the right store to get the solution to the problem that's based in from the other store. Yeah. Why go to the store that produces the problem looking for a solution?
Good point.
Yes, pointless. So here we are, left with this running into the wall of self cannot get out of self, and maybe entertaining I may not be self. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like, don't vow you're never going to run into the wall, because self will. That's what it does. It doesn't get,
Mhm.
self cannot get out of self. It doesn't get it. It just keeps trying to get out of self.
Mhm.
Yeah. What do you think? After a while, didn't your spirituality look like drug addiction in a lot of ways? You were up 13 hours listening to videos. You're doing hyperventilation, then cold, hot water, then some electric shock wearing your belt or something. It's just, it's another form of addiction. It is. Yeah. It's all based on the stubborn misunderstanding that self can get out of self. And we've been given the great news by our own community. Self can't get out of self. That's, if you hear it in a certain way, it's such a relieving message, that right there. Because if you're not that, this isn't about, I've got to train it better. I've got to teach it a new lesson that no other self can learn. Get out of self now. Self, come on, Paulie, get out of self. Or realize the fundamental crux is self can't get out of self. No exemptions, no future date when it can, no past date that you could return to when it could. No, self can't get out of self, period. There you go. It's going to be revelatory if you just sit with that. Yeah, because it's going to show you that's exactly what this thing that's foreign to you has been doing in you and through you for years. Self has been trying to get out of self. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. We're flamboyant, so it should have gotten our attention, through the depravity and the demoralizing, pitiful conditions we arrive at, that we could see it because it's obviously overplayed its hand, but still the stubbornness of this identification as self is pretty strong. Yes. People are here, sitting here, wishing if they can get this message, they can get out of self as self. Yeah. The beautiful thing is, watch that misunderstanding not from the misunderstanding, but from awareness, let's say, and see the misunderstandings that are basically the pointing or the direction of this life. And then you'll realize why it hasn't gone where you thought it was going to go. It doesn't understand. Yeah. And I don't believe it has the ability to understand. So instead of trying to coax the captain to drive the boat better, I would just jump off the fucking boat. Yeah. You don't know what you'll be catched by in the ocean, but it's going to be better than this ride, I'll tell you. Yeah. Show some faith. Jump overboard. Yeah. Yeah. Like I had this thing. If you don't mind, as an example, we have this other thing we're involved with. So, and sometimes that can entail a retreat. Well, I was never a big retreat person, but my girlfriend's from Italy, and we decided we'd have a retreat in Italy. Yeah, sound pretty good. So we had our first retreat in Italy 3 years ago. Someone came from somewhere and they had COVID, and at the end of the retreat, half of us got COVID. Yeah. Okay. Second year, we have another retreat in Sicily. This year, someone has COVID. We get it from the beginning of the retreat. Yeah. Now, do you think I'm going to have a third retreat in Italy? No, I'm not. Unless I get an incredible medical team that can be there. It just was obvious. I didn't have to read hieroglyphics. Italy, retreat, COVID. Italy, retreat, COVID. I don't want to cut out Italy forever. Yeah, I'd like to cut out the COVID. I think I won't have a retreat. Yeah. I didn't have to have a soothsayer to there was a pattern there. I saw the pattern. What is it I know that I don't want to know? I don't want to know that when we get together, somebody brings COVID. So, but that's the fact. So let's not have a retreat. Simple, eh? Yeah. Was it Italy? No. Was it people getting together? Yes. So, whatever.
We can
Raise.
have a retreat at my place.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can do anything. You just set it
Yeah,
up,
we
call me
can have
up.
a whole new thing. No COVID, but
Oh,
all
yeah.
retreat.
It would
How
be
about
nice.
that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. It was
yeah.
funny. It hit us the last day, the first time. I got it the first day, the second time. But we get
Oh,
talks a day all the time.
that's a bummer to be leading a retreat with COVID.
Well, everyone had it, so they were all laying down or pumping it into
Yeah.
the room or something. It was all right. Well, anyone else have any question? I think someone had a question. Saraswati, yeah, talk to us about a retreat. We're more than happy to. Nancy,
Great.
Joe,
Nancy, Joe, and then Lori. Lori too, after that. She
all
still
right.
wants.
Whoever wants to come on.
Hey, everybody, Paul, is Nancy speaking?
No, I'm not going to.
No, please do.
No, this meeting was about 2 people. I have to leave, sorry. It was my first time here, but thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Lori.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go long. It might be an idea for another meeting. But I was just wanting to ask you, not really, I guess, what has your experience been with this message in doing a 4th step with somebody have you using
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I have. Usually after they've done the 4th step, the way everyone seems to do it, which is my defects of character. Yeah. Then we do a shorter one, and because the pattern of doesn't need to be reproduced for hours. Yeah, you'll see a pattern. And then we usually have another one of looking at the manifestations of self as what has defeated you. They're not yours. Yes.
So
that's
you will do a regular one with them first and then
what matters where they are. If they've been in AA before, probably not. So
okay.
they've done
Yeah.
a 4th step already, I won't do it that way. But again, it would have to be based on the situation.
Yeah.
When it's not something, it's rote. It's like if they're somewhere hanging out with them, I'll usually be guided to what I'm going to present to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people come back and then they've done all these steps with that idea of that it was them. And so it's a nice time to introduce looking at it in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's best to go through to see when you see your role in things. See, jumping from no role in things and then self's role in things sometimes can be a way that there's a need for some people to feel the responsibility. So, yeah, because we've been running from that responsibility. So it's good to see your role in things. But I wouldn't want that to be like this Gibraltar for the rest of your life. Yes. I would like you to be able to go back there, and then by seeing your role in things, I'm very, very clear you will see self's role in things, in what you call your things. Yeah. And then you have a different attitude, which is more accountable for what happened. I'm not responsible for what happened. Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
And responsibility, that a mutated responsibility can have you bounded for 40 years. Accountability is a much cleaner thing. Yeah. I was accountable. I made the amends. It's pretty much done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going over and over it again. Like, see, the idea when you go over shit, you think you could have done it different, yeah? But the doer is in place. You thought you did the other shit, and now you want to do a better upgrade of shit, yeah? But the doer stays the same. We're trying to question that idea of being the doer, not so much what you're doing. I don't believe you're the doer of a lot of stuff that happens in this life. I don't. If you are, we're pretty much out to lunch, because we don't seem to realize we're the doer until after we did a lot of fucking crazy shit.
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
aren't we perfect?
you would hope, yeah, you would hope that if you were the doer, you would know before that and have some say in what you do. I think we're taken over by emotions. We're taken over by viruses and flus. You know, my attitude and outlook seems bleaker when I'm physically sick than when I'm not. So these influences are constantly, things are coming through us, and some of them are strong enough to produce actions. Yes. Yes. And to me, addiction is strong enough to produce actions through us. It's quite capable of taking us over and using us for a form of transportation for it to express itself. It is. I've noticed it. One of the most amazing things I saw when I first was introduced to freebasing, which was smoking cocaine, pure cocaine. Someone would take a hit of freebase, and after that hit, a minute later, they were apt to do almost anything to get the second hit. I mean, fucking anything. I would be around a table, and I swear to God, morals that may have taken 40 years to grow and to get established were gone in a fucking second. Once they breathed out the fumes of the crack, or not crack, it's freebase, they were fucking dropping their pants, they're doing anything. It was mind-boggling. I swear, mind-boggling. You're going to tell me they were the doer of that behavior? And it overrode 30 years of upbringing like that. It wasn't like heavy lifting at all. Triggered a desire, they would do anything. I would do almost anything. I saw it with my eyes. A transformation in one breathe in and one breathe out. All their principles were gone completely. Yeah, you're telling me that you were the Rock of Gibraltar of I am the doer of everything. Give me a fucking break. Shit's insane. Yeah, you go to a hypnotist, they can have you thinking you're a fucking chicken. Yeah, yeah. I'm so established in my identity, nothing will move me. My principles are rock solid. All right, have some of this freebase. Fuck, you'll sell your mother. You will. I mean, my girlfriend from Italy, she believed, and it's changed now. She's a mother, that no mother would ever break that motherly instinct. I said, well, come to some meetings, honey, because you'll meet a lot of women, and they're nothing different than you, that had kids, and those kids were taken away or shit like that because of what? Something drove them to do shit above everything else. Yeah. Now you
Yeah.
can pick that person, you can fucking shame that person, but the fact is that person was powerless over what took them over. Yeah. Yeah. Let's find some freaking relief from this shit. Some
Thank you.
people are carrying something that they did not do for 40 years. They have like a little fucking remorse and guilt like altar in their closet. They fucking go tithe to every day. Yes, I'm bad. I was bad. Give me a break. It's got, when is that? Even in our crazy judicial system, they have a term of limits, certain things you can't be convicted of after 20 years. I mean, it's too late. Yeah. The limit, whatever it's called, has run out. You're not going to be brought into jail. Does the head have that? No fucking way. It's going over a cold case 50 years ago, going over it right now. Yeah. Yes.
Statute of limitations.
The statute of limitations is unlimited in the head. Yeah. That's insane. It's just fucking insane to me. Why are we walking around taking this shit to be normal? It just blows my mind. Yeah. It's like a futuristic jail where they don't have to have any locks or anything. You just believe, you know, you lock yourself in your own room. You know, they don't need guards or anything. There's no warden. You're just punishing yourself every day. I just had it with some of this stuff. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So the doer is an incredible established belief. Is it based on observational fact? No. You can be a doer and believe what you will do and what you won't do, and that can be eradicated in a second by injecting a drug into you. Yeah. I swear to God, you could have been a fucking Catholic nun, and if you do some freebase, fuck. Yeah, you're going to be showing it all probably to the congregation. Shit happens. Yeah. This solidity that we believe we represent isn't that solid. Literally. I mean, shit, we're relying on something that's quite unreliable. Really. So perhaps there's a better way. Yeah, trusting the infinite rather than finite self. Oh, that's the mysteries of the ages. No, it isn't. It's very clear. Faith in finite self is one condition. Faith in the infinite's the other condition. Yeah. Tell the truth about which one you're in and then see what happens. Yeah. Yeah. You'll know when you're in faith in the infinite because you're going to be traveling lighter throughout the day. You'll know when there's faith in the finite, you'll get anxious and you'll be calling something that's manufactured in the head as an actual fear, which it's not. It's mental anxiety. There's no apparent threat, yet you feel threatened. That's made up. That's made up. The head makes it up. So I think this would be a great beginning. Start seeing mental anxiety as just that, not fear. Fear is a valid emotion that's necessary. Yeah. Yeah. The stuff we're calling fear is made up in the head. Yeah. So we're here every week, Tuesday, Thursday.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
If you like it, come. If you don't. Check it out. Yeah. Yeah. If it starts producing an ease and comfort where there wasn't one, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. If it wasn't, at least you heard some novel idea, not the same old, same old. Yeah. Can you imagine the same old, same old? You're doing something, stop doing it. All right. Yes. Okay. How about looking, are you the doer of things? Maybe you're not. Yeah. And if you're not the doer, what incredible things can happen through you? Wow. Who knows? Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Oh, we got, yes, we got Diona.
Hi, you guys. I wanted to share real quick that this morning in prayer and meditation, I opened up one of the books I use is A Course in Miracles, and you were just talking about this. That's why I was like, I have to share this. I before I open up the book, I say, okay, what is it? What is it that that I need to hear, or what is it that needs to be heard, seen? Yeah, and it was lesson 6. I'm upset because I see something that's not there. I am upset because I see something that is not there. And I sat with that. And I thought about a past resentment. I thought about that. And I thought, I'm upset because I see something that is not there. It's about letting go of old ideas. I mean, just what if it's not there? I've had experiences where the light comes in and it overtakes all the seeming form, and there's nothing there.
Yes.
So I'm upset because I see something that's not there. And I just wanted to share that with everyone and then see what you had to say about it, Paul.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to realize you're not the eye that is seeing something that's not there. Yeah. Every description these books have is mostly not of us. Yeah. It's describing what we're not. And it's great when you can hear it as a description of what you're not, because you are the seeing of what you're not. You are the awareness of what you're not. And so these books may give you great recognition of stuff, and mostly what they're recognizing is what we're not. Yeah. So we are not the one that sees something that is not there. What? Yeah, you're not. Hallelujah. Yeah. So maybe if I'm not the one that sees something that's not there, maybe I'll see something that's not there, a whole other thing, which is the presence of the Spirit, because we can't see it, can we? Yeah, but now we can sense it. So now you're sensing something that you can't see is there. Yes, being in good hands of this program, the reliance on something that's reliable produces a sense that you can't actually see. It's not seemingly here now, but you sense it now. Yeah. Yeah. This is the way you get different views when you're not stuck in one view. Other views come and dance with you and tell you stuff, and then they leave something behind that's very valuable. And then you dance with another view and you get something else. Yeah. Yes. But mostly what I've gotten through the program is descriptions of what I'm not, which is this idea of self. And by describing what I'm not, I got a sense of what I truly am. Yeah. By the description of what I'm not. Yeah. So I arrive at what I am by seeing what I'm not. That's how it's worked for me here in this program. So we're using self as the representative of what we're not. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea of self sees something that is not there. We do not see something that is not there. Wow. So if I'm not that which sees something that's not there, maybe I can see something. Yeah. Yeah. This is the possibility. There's tons of possibilities that are getting choked from us based on this idea of self being us. Yeah. We've been fed a very small fucking point of view. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. We're looking through a myopic lens, obviously. And so when we describe that, instead of beating yourself up for being the one that's looking for it, looking through it, see, you're not that's looking through the myopic lens. Yeah, it's an easier way. This is how we discover ourselves, by recognizing what we're not. Yeah. Yeah. So when you see selfishness seems always to be there, that doesn't mean I'm selfish. Yeah. What? Yeah. There's selfishness. That doesn't mean I'm selfish. So, okay. That's a good thing to recognize. Selfishness seems to be there. Okay. If I'm not that, it can seemingly disappear much easier. Yes. Yes. But when the head when the head sees selfishness, it says it's you, self. And therefore, when you get introduced to the relief from selfishness, the ownership of being the one who is selfish lingers on for fucking years in the program. Yeah. So you would hope that recognition of selfishness was going to lead to relief, but it doesn't. It leads to more guilt and shame because it was you that was selfish and you shouldn't have been selfish. Selfishness does not imply you. It implies self, and you are not self. Yes? That's a distinctly different understanding. I think it brings about a lot more light than the previous understanding. I'm selfish. I've got to stop being selfish. No, when I see selfishness, I'm not that. Yeah.
Because I'm not the I. Like I'm not the
It's just
I. It's
selfishness.
awareness.
Selfishness came out. Yeah. But there is, am I the one that's selfish? No. And I do not believe I am the one that's full of grace either. This is what kills me. And then I got to end because I got to go to another Zoom thing. A lot of people come into AA and they find it so easy to recognize something is doing for them what they couldn't do for themselves, start having gratitude for the effects the program has brought about, honoring this power that's keeping them and got them sober. What about the recognition of what did through us what we would have never done by ourselves, the lower power? Where is the recognition of that? We take the blame of all of that and we give the glory of recovery to the higher power. But why don't we give the fucking glory to the defeat to the lower power? Why? I don't see, something is off there, hugely off. Yeah.
I've started sharing that in meetings because I've heard you say it. So I've started sharing it. It makes sense. It's true.
Yes, but that doesn't mean anything because what's talking to us it has its own sense. Yeah. It has its own sense. If you lay it out, it makes no fucking sense. It's an insane logic. But if you're in it, it seems incredibly, makes tons of sense. But why is it so easy to be grateful, yet not apply the accountability to what really caused the dilemma? To me, that's a huge blind spot that would be nice to have it cleared up, eh? Just saying. Just saying. That's all I can do. Doesn't that make you curious? Did you go to school? You know, no, I felt it pretty clearly. Something had done and is doing for me what I can't do for myself. And then the natural reaction was gratitude and honor of that. Because, hey, thanks. Like if I was broken down on the side of the road and someone pulled over and knew how to change the tire and help me go, and I'd be grateful. Yes, he did that. So that seems to come naturally. I believe there's an artificial blocking of the previous condition. Yeah. That it has its role in your life disguised as your role in your life. Yeah. And we're claiming the ownership of its effects. A foreign effect on us has become our. Yeah, this is the bondage of self. Yeah. Do they talk about the bondage of the infinite? Do they? In the book, do they describe the bondage of the infinite? I am bonded to the infinite. No. Bondage of self. Yeah. Bondage of self. The behavior that self-provoked you claim to be yours. That is a huge form of bondage of self. Yeah. I don't know. That's how I see it. I can't, I'll share till the fucking cows come home. That's how I see it. I'm sharing it. You came here, see if it works. But the difference of our ability to respond to the higher power and our inability to be accountable to the lower power blows my mind. I believe it's not just exotic phenomena. I think it's a manufactured camouflage. I do. I think self hides itself in us. That's why it doesn't want you to do an inventory and see your role in things, because you will inevitably, I hope, see its role in things. Yeah. That to me is where the real relief is.
And it can be so sneaky. Like, I don't know, just now I was thinking, yeah, it's me not seeing anything.
Yes.
So yeah, I see.
Yeah.
It catches me, and then I'm
Yeah.
awake, and then I'm asleep, and then I'm awake, and then I'm asleep. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
okay.
I heard
'cause
it. Thank you.
the awake is the progress, and the sleep is going to be where you progress from. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Recovery progresses just like the disease does. Yeah. They'll be more awake or less seemingly asleep.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, listen, I got to get going unless we can do a fast one. I gotta see.
Yeah, Paul has his hand up. Can you come on in for a second, Mike?
Yeah, just for a second, Paul, as always, thank you. You know, when this started making sense to me, I was kind of given a glimpse of how many times in my life I've said in my head or out loud, oh, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe I just wrote that. You know, whatever that was. And what that showed to me is I couldn't believe it because it's not to be believed
That's true. Yes.
that I did that. And what an awakening. I was like, oh, fuck, I was driven.
Yes.
And now there's something that happens before that kind of flare up where I'm going to send a text or say something to my wife that literally stops me in my fucking tracks.
Yes.
And the harm and the damage is nothing compared to what it used to be. Since I've been practicing this, it's not practicing. I'm just fucking listening and it's trickling into the matrix. I'm not practicing anything, you guys. Prayer, meditation, whatever, those are practices, I guess. But this has trickled in and it's created a pause so that fucking self can't get out there and try to run the show. I just wanted to say that because if I
Yes.
really look at my thinking career, right, I can't serve two masters. What a painful thing. Because if I'm in that state of self and I'm trying to be spiritual, I've seen the results of that. It's brutal, especially in sobriety, obviously, because then I have no fucking excuse because I'm not freebasing or drinking. People ask, wow, you're sober. What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, really, it's crazy. So I just wanted to say that, man, that's what's happened for me as a result. There's this thing has come between me and self, and I'm not fucking fighting everyone and everything. And I appreciate you, dude, always.
Yeah.
These are great little sessions we have here.
I appreciate you, Mike. And yeah, these are indications of the progress. These indications of the progress are more disarming than arming, right? Exactly. Progress in this way is disarming. It's not arming yourself to do a better job in fighting the enemy. It's disarming. You admit you're powerless, and that's the source of power. Yes? Yeah. So, yep. I know. There's a lot of shit. When we used to do talks, AA talks around, I would always say, the town of Doylestown should send a thank you note to AA for all the fucking havoc that would have been produced this Friday night with us being in this room, 80 of us, less arrests, less fucking domestic fucking violent things, less shit like that. Yeah. The amazing thing about recovery is more based on the absence of shit. Yeah. So much shit in the air is absent because we're sober. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. You cannot imagine how chaotic things. Remember when they had this event, 70,000 people in San Diego for the World Convention. No arrests, no drunken riots, nothing fucking happened. The town didn't get destroyed. There was nothing. 70,000 people came in, 70,000 people left. They left a very, very slight footprint. Yes. Could you imagine if you unleash 70,000 active alcoholics from a fucking rally onto the streets? Jesus Christ. The amount of havoc and fucking chaos and destruction that would occur. There is so much absence in life with us being subdued as we are. It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, thank you so much. And we'll be here today at 4:30 Pacific time. And the schedule is on Zen Bitch Slap event page. And if this thing gets recorded, we'll post a link, and I'll see you guys soon. Yeah. Adios. Thank you so much. I usually say goodbye, but I better get off now. All right. See everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks.